Dr. John Watson. John. Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson. John, Come on, John. John. Dr. Watson. John. John. John Watson. John. 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 John, if we're going to decipher... John, what are you doing? John. Always in pairs, John. But he's John. 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 Come on, John. 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 Very good, John. John. John Watson. John. Yes, John. John Watson. John. Oh, John. John. John's emails. John. 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 Sorry. John. 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 There's a John. John. It's John. 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 Oil John. Thank you, John. John. It's all right, he's not resisting. John. John. Goodbye, John. How could John be going? Hello, John. John. And what about John Watson? John. John, I'm... Shut up, John! John. 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 Shut up, John. Why indeed, John? Save John Watson. John! 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 John. These are my rats, John. John, it's an underground network. What's the date, John? John. Go, John. I can't do it, John. 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 John is always partly John's presence. John will be... John asked me to be his best man. Watson. John Watson. To John. John. When John first broached the subject of being best man, I was confused. John Watson. I'm afraid, John, I can't congratulate you. Let's talk about John. John so selflessly provides. John, I am a ridiculous man. John... About John. John. Stories about John. John's... Get down, John! John Watson. John. John's ideal intake and mine. John. 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 I got... Now, John. 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 John Watson. John Hamish Watson. John Hamish Watson. Hamish. John H. Watson. John's great, too. John. John Watson, you keep me right. John. John Watson. Hello, John. 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 The Watsons are... John. 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 John Watson. John. 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 Dr. Watson. 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 Watson, your hat and coat. No, Watson. 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 These are deep waters, Watson. Watson. Watson for Watson. Dr. Watson. Hush, Watson. You must forgive Watson. Dr. Watson. We all have a past, Watson. And come, Watson. 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 Oh, Watson. Stay here, Watson. Watson is equally culpable. Watson. Watson. My dear Watson. Watson. Oh, good old Watson. Watson. Yes, Watson, we did. John. John, please. Thank you, John. Of course you do, John. John, I always survive a fall. John, you John. 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 John on the dog. John. 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 I need you to know, John. I have been many things, John. John. Remember that one, John? John, John? Thank you, John. John. It's more than possible. She was John's therapist. John stays. John, I will take the windows, you take the stairs. John. 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 John Watson. John. Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson, what do you think? John. John. John.